Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about first encounters as we get into the first encounter of the Tau and the Imperium. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions for first encounters or just suggestions in general, comment down below. After that, we're going to talk about a couple campaigns that I found pretty interesting where the Tau fought the Imperium. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the first encounter of the Tau Empire and the Imperium. Since first entering space, the Tau had experienced success after success. Guided by their ethereals, each caste had overcome every obstacle yet encountered, and none could doubt the Tau's ascendancy. On the far side of the Damocles Gulf, however, the Tau faced an enemy unlike any other, and the epic clash that followed heralded the beginning of a new age of war. The Tau Empire's first introduction to humanity came not with the ruling Imperium, but with the dissident elements that were operating on the fringe of that mighty dominion. The Imperium of Man was the largest realm in the galaxy, although much of its sprawling borders had never been explored or had been forgotten over its history. The region of space around the Damocles Gulf was such an area, a wilderness where the Tau Empire had found room to take root. The Tau first encountered free captains, pirates, and lost human colonies that had regressed so that they had long forgotten their ancient origins and any connection to their distant birth world. Those initial contacts ranged from friendly trade negotiations to instant hostility. It was some time before the Watercast came to grasp the fact that the humans they had encountered were merely lost remnants or willing outcasts of an incomprehensibly large galactic empire. Worlds claimed by the dissident humans were soon annexed into the Tau Empire, but there was much debate on how to approach those planets still bound to the Imperium. In typical fashion, the high-ranking caste leaders debated the situation before the ethereals. To some of the High Council, the Imperium seemed so powerful that overt aggression might lead to a war they could not win. The leaders of the Fire Caste called for war, but it was Anva, an ethereal second in authority only to the ethereal supreme, Anwe, who determined the plan. The Water Caste were to integrate themselves into human worlds loyal to the Imperium, working their way into the courts of planetary governors. Eventually, a score of worlds within the Imperium were trading with the Tau, even in preference to each other. Alien goods, and especially coveted Earth Caste technology, flowed through these markets in blatant disregard of Imperial law. The time soon came to initiate the second phase of Anva's instructions. Upon those worlds that were deemed ripe, Watercast envoys whispered well-rehearsed words into willing ears. The seeds of rebellion that had been long cultivated now bore fruit, as one by one, the planetary governors declared themselves and their worlds free of the shackles of the Imperium's totalitarian rule. It had taken decades to achieve, but the Tau spread more rapidly, with fewer losses than even the most brilliant military campaigns could have achieved. The Imperium's response to such sedations were slow in coming, but when it finally arrived, it was characteristically brutal. The Tau were designated as a highly dangerous xenospecies, and the Damocles Gulf Crusade was launched to expel them from the region. The Imperial forces were vast, based around a dozen capital ships, and included 19 regiments of Astra Militarum and 5 provisional companies of Space Marines, made up from a dozen chapters. The initial battles were stunningly victorious for the Imperium, as the powers of their fleet and the suddenness of their attack smashed isolated outposts and eliminated outlying colonies. In a short period of intense conflict, the Tau were pushed back across the Damocles Gulf, although in the later stages of this drive, the Imperium's victories were not so easily won. The planets from which the Tau were driven were subjected to harsh pacification. The Inquisition descended upon the remaining human populations and meted out cruel punishments to those who had rejected the Emperor's tenets. Meanwhile, the Crusade followed the retreating Tau across the Damocles Gulf, entering the Tau Empire itself. Most within the Imperium saw the Tau as just another disgusting xenoswarm to be obliterated, but a few of the deep thinkers were unpleasantly surprised by this new race. Although no match in close quarters, the aliens had proven tactically savvy, bold masters of ambush and counterattack warfare. Their technology was clearly advanced, and some weapons, such as the railgun, were rightfully feared. Next to a hive world, the Tau cities seemed like paradises of efficiency. Many, particularly the Space Marine captains, found that the Tau were honorable adversaries and were worthy of respect. Inquisitor Gallius was more alarmed by the Tau than any of his brethren. What struck him most about them was their technological prowess and unwavering belief in progress. It reminded him of what he had read of mankind in its glory days, a time known as the Dark Age of technology. Although much of that period is unknown, some believe that mankind's intellectual hubris and unworthy reliance on machine and artificial intelligence brought about the dreaded Age of Strife, a nightmare time of horror and violence. If the Tau were indeed upon the same path, then they represented a larger threat to the Imperium of man, and indeed the whole galaxy, than any would easily believe. The first sign of the invasion upon the Tau Empire came from the scanners of Prien, the outpost planet of the Dalith Sept. After picking up unusual readings, the Tau switched to long-range optics and were shocked to see great rent openings in space, with the massive Imperial battleships and their supporting craft emerging out of nowhere. Although the Tau fleet and the Prien's well-armed orbital station took a toll upon the Imperial Navy, the way was soon cleared for the Crusade to advance toward Dalith Prime. In the largest conflict of the war, Imperial forces landed upon Dalith Prime. In this case, they were not taking on a recently converted Imperial world or a newly founded colony, but instead were treading upon a heavily populated Tau Sept world. The Imperial drop was contested by swarms of atmospheric fighters, but was eventually successful in establishing a beachhead. Soon the Imperium's ground forces, with Titans and armored formations as the spearhead, plowed relentlessly toward the cities of Galbrin. The Imperial advance was stalled by storms of missiles raining down from beyond the hills. When units were detached to drive back the Tau spotters, they were instead engaged by jump troops protected by cloaking fields. Each time Imperial forces attempted to regain momentum, they were met by the timely counterattacks of the Firecast. These thrusts were orchestrated with precision and deadly effect by Commander Farsight and Shadowsun, two heroes of the Tau Empire, who would solidify their burgeoning reputation by masterminding the defense of Dalith Prime. Night was the worst for the invading forces, as under the cover of darkness, Tau in advanced battlesuits made swift, hard-hitting strikes. With the Tau's superior optic technology, major losses were inflicted upon the Imperial armor, while little damage was suffered in return. Mankind's elite Space Marines attempted to land behind the Tau's line and regain the initiative, but they were defeated by teams of heavy battlesuits whose formidable firepower quickly downed their transports. With more Tau reinforcement arriving at the front, the Imperial fleet's ability to hold orbit became tenuous. The Imperium's momentum was spent. They were finally forced to withdraw, leaving much of their equipment behind. It is conceivable that the Tau could have encircled the Crusaders, but at the Ethereal's insistence, the Watercast opened a dialogue and agreed to a truce, allowing the invaders an unimpeded retreat. After this great battle at Dalith, an uneasy peace descended upon both sides of the war-torn Damocles Gulf. Even as many in the Imperium readied themselves for another offensive, more pressing concerns called for a hasty redeployment of mankind's gathered armies. The Imperium had demonstrated but a fraction of its power, and that had proven enough to hurl the Tau Empire backward. Yet the Tau had learned from this engagement as well. The Firecast gained the invaluable insight into mankind's methods. They had fought a foe that, like the Orcs, was willing to absorb huge losses, but unlike the Greenskins, the Imperial forces used a wide range of tactics and employed an expansive and impressive arsenal. In the aftermath, the Ethereals deemed a full study of captives and recovered equipment. The Earthcast declared much of the technology to be inferior, and some was simply too unstable to contemplate using, such as Imperial plasma devices. There were some eye-opening discoveries, however, and the Earthcast was an absolute wonder over a warp engine they obtained. With no knowledge or understanding of the realm known as the warp, they found the strange apparatus utterly unfathomable. To their further frustration, the captured humans that had operated it seemed to possess no actual understanding of its mechanisms, running the equipment solely through the application of superstitious rituals and chantings. The Tau Empire would continue to use similar methods in the years to come. Decades of Watercast works converted many human worlds in the Lagan system. With the help of an expeditionary force, the star system was actually deemed a grade Class 1 colony, moving steadily towards becoming a full-fledged sept. However, all this preparation came to ruin, as this sector became a war zone targeted for Xenos cleansing by the Ultramarine Space Marine chapter. Tau colonists were killed in the thousands. The Tau Empire even attempted to use more aggressive force on the Imperium, in a much smaller scale. Known as the Nimbosa Annexation, Commander Brightsword, a student of Farsight's way of war, led an attack to claim the Imperial world of Nimbosa. By the time the Imperium brought reinforcements, the Tau were prepared to defend their new planet. The fighting culminated with the infamous Koloth Gorge Massacre, where the forces of the Astra Militarum were so brutally slaughtered that Brightsword was censured and summoned back to Tau due to the remorselessness of his act. Since that attack, the planet had changed hands several more times and remained a constant war zone. As the Tau Empire and the Imperium continued to clash, many wars are fought, and the Tau Empire learns more and more that humanity is truly corrupt at its core. An insertion contingent of Tau Pathfinders was deployed on the Kanmon's Lock, a forge world dedicated to the construction of small arms and munitions. They escort several Watercast insurrection specialists, whose task is to incite rebellion amongst the hive-bound working class. To the Tau's surprise, reports say that the planet's underclass have recently been stockpiling contraband weapons for an upcoming insurrection against their cruel masters. This information is in fact accurate, but it masks the true horror of the situation. A hostile cult, known as the Disciples of the Bleeding Star, have infiltrated the labor unions of the Kadmon's Lock, spreading the worship of their strange gods. The Tau forces are greeted with a hail of autogun fire, and several warriors and diplomats are snatched away into the darkness of the Hive City's undertunnels by hulking razor-clawed figures. Surrounded on all sides by mutated demi-humans, the contingent survivors are forced to battle their way to the surface of the Forge World for extraction. Before they depart, they activate a wideband hollow signal that is picked up by the planet's Adeptus Mechanicus administration. Skitarii forces are dispatched to the Underhive to investigate, and an open warfare breaks out as they discover the extent of the cultist infestation. The Tau Hive orbit recon probes perform a thorough analysis during the ensuing carnage. And those were 40 facts on the Tau Empire and the Imperium's first encounter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends on Facebook, Reddit, whatever social media you guys use. It helps out the channel when you do so. So if you enjoy our content and you want to see more, share it with your friends. Even if you don't enjoy our content and you made it this far, share this video with your friends. Just because you're not doing anything, so you might as well just do it. The interesting thing about the Tau Empire is that they truly are the underdogs of 40K, and you pity them a little bit when you read their lore. I'm starting to appreciate the Tau the more I read about them. When I was reading The Invasion of Daliath, and I pictured the Imperial battleships lowering the Titans onto the Sept world, and I can picture like Tau citizens looking up into the sky and seeing these colossal humanoid god engines just touching down on the ground, feeling the earthquakes as these massive war engines touch the surface. It epitomizes the fact that the Tau are a speck compared to the Imperial might. And for a second, you want the Titans to just destroy everything, but then at the same time you realize, like, no, these Tau should fight this giant Goliath and try to take it down. I guess it works both ways. It works in the favor of the Tau because it makes me sympathize with the Tau and makes me want to see them be victorious, which they were against the Imperium. But then at the same time, it shows the might, the power of the Imperium. The Imperium might be backwards, it might be just corrupt at its core, but they have weapons that are just unfathomable, like Space Marines, Titans, all these things that are they look badass and they can actually put out a lot of damage. So I guess it works both ways. The more I read about the Tau, the more I do enjoy just the race in general. I feel a little bit sorry for giving the Sound Alchemist so much shit for playing the Tau. but then I remember he plays Farsight, so it's not even the Tau Empire, it's something completely different. But the Tau Empire is truly just like a cool, relatable army to play. Yeah, you can relate to individual characters within the Imperium because they're human, obviously. But I think as a whole, the Tau Empire is more relatable. Like they're going up against things that they have no power or they have no hope of winning. Now, multiple spheres have expanded, so it's changed since then. The Tau Empire has gotten stronger, but still, I feel like they truly are the underdogs. There is another battle that I want to talk about, the battle at Mugaloth Bay, I think it is, or the campaign at Mugaloth Bay. I was going to talk about it in this video, but I feel like I want to invest a little bit more time. The reason for that is because I personally want to learn more about this great battle between the Imperium and the Tau, so expect that in the future. If you guys have any suggestions for other badass topics about the Tau or just in general, comment down below, especially first encounters. We've done the first encounter of the Necrons and the Imperium when the Sisters of Battle fought the Necrons, but we haven't done any other ones, I believe. So if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. And then just check out our inventory or our catalog of all of our 40 Facts videos, because we have a lot of pretty cool battles. But yeah, any that we're missing, just comment down below and we'll try to create a video for you guys. If you enjoy our content, don't forget we have a Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. Videos like this, where we talk about cool epic battles, and videos like the horrible realities and the daily life, where we just kind of take it upon ourselves to explore the world of 40K. So if you enjoy that content, supporting us on Patreon is an excellent way to get more of that content. If you can't, we understand. Simply by liking, commenting, and sharing, it helps out the channel. Don't forget that we have some giveaways still going on right now. Today should be the last day for the Devastator Space Marine box set giveaway. You could check that out on our 40 Facts on the Alpha Legion versus the Orcs, I want to say. If you check that video out, we have a giveaway for a Devastator squad. All you have to do is go there, comment, and you might win. And then we also have a Tau Pathfinder box set giveaway in our 40 Facts on the Tau versus the Orcs. The sooner we reach the 150k mark, the sooner we're gonna get to the big badass giveaway of Primaris status. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.